Hello everybody, this is episode 4 of So You Want to Play Competitive Fortnite. We're going to be talking about the cone, and basically everything in regards to what you can do with the cone. So it's important to have your cone on a button that, or on a finger that doesn't get like a lot of use out of. So pinky is for me, left shift. My pinky does crouch other than that, which there could be a little bit confliction that we'll learn later on in the episode, but it's nothing that big. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the THIFO cone. If you've been around for a while. I have no idea what that sound just was. I feel like there's an event going on or something. I don't know why the game just made that sound. But the THIFO cone basically is where you start here and you look up and cone. Usually you want to jump while you do it, so you keep your momentum going forward. You notice at the end of every one, I'm already on like the edge of my ramp. So you got to whip back quickly and recognize that, because if you don't, then you might fall off. Basically what this does is provides protection from the right hand side. Someone's trying to shoot at you, they have to shoot through this wall first. And then you can also do it from the left hand side. A little bit more difficult because I almost never do it from the left hand side. But that's if your opponent's on your left, you can do it like that. And really the motion is here and then diagonally up and then over. Then cone to finish it off. So it's just turbo build, place cone. And the same on the left. You know, as you can see, I'm no pro still. I hit max, or I'm no pro at it, so you know it's all about practice. That is the THIFO cone. Next, we'll talk about aggressively coning somebody when they're ramping over you. So as we learned in episode 4, you guys are going to connect like this, and let's say this guy gets over top of you like this. Like I mentioned it briefly, but if you're underneath like this, you don't need to jump. You can just cone right here. You can see the cone outline. And that's just from looking at the very edge of the stair. Is the best tip I can give you. You can look in the middle, but as you get farther down, like personally, I think looking at the very tip is the best spot to look. But you can do it in the middle as well. So basically anywhere from like the 4th step up. So most cases you're not going to want to be this close to the stair. You want to be like here. And you can, if you hear when I built right there, I coned both of them. So if he's running up, now he's coned like this. And then he can decide if he wants to break through or, you know, go something like this and go backwards. But that's the aggressive cone, because you're playing almost on the aggressive here. So you get back into control. Maybe you box this all up and you go for a shot here or something along the lines of that. Now, let's talk about the defensive cone. So let's say, where's this connected? So the defensive cone is, you're ramping up like this, like we learned in the last episode, or is the last episode? I can't remember. And you place the cone in the floor first. So what this does is, first off, if he's ramping up like this, it stops him from being able to place something here because your cone's in the way. So his next step would either have to be to wall it off. Maybe he's going to try to catch you, because if you edit through this, then he can catch you right here. But this allows you to kind of decide the next move if you own both of these. Because if he decides, okay, I'm just going to crank, and then you can, you know, get into a retake or something like this. But basically, if you don't think you're going to beat the person up there, you just want to get both of the cones down like this. It's also good to protect yourself. Whoops. Just show you. It's also good to protect yourself if he's already on the height. So if he's over here and he notices you ramping up, you could do that again where you do this. And then the next one would be obviously right here. Or you could even box me if you're good and like quick enough. You know, you place the cone and then box me like this. Now I'm fully boxed in your box, and you can decide what to do next. So that's like attacking and defending cones, and like how you can use cones to your advantages there. We're gonna talk about this is like a newer tip that a lot of people know but don't really know how to do. So let's build this in metal. Let's show 2 tips right now. So first one, let's say your opponent boxes up like this, and you notice off the rip that they don't have a cone on the top. Just so they can't go out, you want to place a cone up there. You don't need to be on a cone, you can place it while being on the floor. You just have to find the angle. Just a weird little angle, there it is. So it's not looking directly at the line, I look a little bit to the right when I do it. Let me break this. So I look a little bit, because if I look directly on it, you can do it, but I find it's a lot easier if you look a little bit to the right or left, and then you just place the cone on top. Now this person inside the box, if he, he might not know the cone's here, so if he's trying to run out, he's gonna get caught right here and be like, what the hell? This isn't my cone? Now the tip I want to teach you is, it's pretty much brand new. It's good against people who, especially good if they don't have like wood like this, because you can see through wood pretty easy. Same with brick, but metal they can't really. You run up to the wall, you crouch, and then when you stand up, you kind of have to look down just a little bit like this. If you notice, like if I look forward, crouch, nothing happens. You want to look down just a bit so your camera angle is almost like spazzing in, and then you want to hold down turbo. If you notice, this is the move here. You look down. I'm holding W and D right now. Spamming control up, and if you notice that my build blueprints are kind of getting pushed into. So what happens is the cone gets placed inside. I'll prove that the cone's not there right now. Go down, crouch in, get the cone out, and there's the cone inside. That's good just to catch them off guard, because then you own the inside of the cone. If you eventually end up taking the wall and doing an edit, they might go to block it with the cone, but then they're like, and they just shoot it because they don't even own the cone. So that's more of an aggressive box fighting tip, but we'll cover that in a different episode where we talk about attacking the box. We can talk about just some other simple cones. We have the cone jump, which is my favorite. It's side jump, cone jump, you can call it whatever you want. I call it the cone jump because that's how I practice it, but a lot of people call it the side jump as well. So all it is going here and then jumping to the right and then catching yourself on a floor. Eventually you just practice it like this. The real tip is to make sure you get momentum, turn, and then jump. Controllers can do it really easy because of 360-degree movement, but it's pretty simple. Just practice this a bit. You want to look, you want to jump, and if you notice in this case, or in this type of jump, I'm trying to get as far as possible I can get on the edge of the ramp, because eventually you'll have place a stair like this, and if you're too far up, then you'll phase through the stair and your opponent can shoot you. But if you're here, then you can start ramping up or doing whatever. So let's talk about some of the other, this is more like retake based, but you can jump off and land on the side like this. And then you can do high walls. So high walls is when you do the walls up like this. And then you can decide whatever you want to do now. You can do the protected ramp rush, where you look up, over like this. But you'll see this in Faceway's video. So that's kind of like a little ramp rush tip, I guess. Another one. What are we talking about again? Like fucking brain fart. Oh yeah, cone jump. So, you saw the cone jump where we jump like this, and we can land inside. We can land on the outside or the inside, or like underneath or above. Above's better because then you can, decide what you want to do next. You have tons of options. You can go up, Typho, and then whatever. Let's say this is probably the hardest one. I'm still learning it. I'm no pro. I'm just trying to get better, just like the rest of y'all. And this one is where you jump, and I messed it up there. Let me see if I can get it here. Oh, I didn't even jump there. Yikes. So you can see those are just common things that happens. There we go. So you jump, and instead of jumping forward like the other ones and landing far, you want to jump up. So you get as close as you can to right here, come here, and go up in the air. So you almost don't hold W, and then you'll land on top of the cone, or on top of the stair. Which lets you know you can go straight into a Typho cone. Do whatever you want to do. Whatever the retakes tell you to do. Another thing you can do with this is edit 2 or the 1 here. Place a wall. Try not to place this one here because that will fuck you up. jump through. I messed up because I didn't have any momentum. And then you can, edit through and do all that fun stuff. But that is the cone jump. Cone jumps don't actually have to be used in like retake scenarios. So let's say you're tarping. Tarping, that's tunneling. Mean you're the tarper. You're leading your team, and you noticed ahead of you that and there's another team, and you notice that they're trying to cut you off right here. So that happens a lot. A lot of times a team might recognize, like, hold up, there's another person on my layer, because you guys would be on the same layer right now. This is like some little advanced stuff here. And they might try to cut you off right here. And if you notice this back here, and you go, well, hold up a second, and maybe this isn't here, and you go, all right, guys, we're cone jumping. So you tell your team, or if you're alone, that you're cone jumping, and now you're on a completely different layer while this guy's trying to do something over here. And then you could even, if you want to, cut him off and see if you can get a shot on him while he's tunneling. But that's just like a realistic example. But the most common thing you'll probably use the cone for is for stopping people ramping over you by coning them yourself underneath, or blocking it by coning yourself to begin with. So if you're this guy here, and you get this off, you might place these cones off the rip just so the guy below you can't. So you can't slow you down because there's already a cone there. But cones are really good for piece control, because it's like basically the start of like all piece control. So this is probably the most common like piece control thing I see, is that another guy is ramping up here, like, and you guys aren't connecting, but instead he's ramping up here, and you take this so he can't, and then you look over here and you take the wall or the cone in the floor, and then you piece him up like this. So most people would be like, oh, I'm cone, turn around, and then usually they're like stuck in one of these two walls, and then, if you own this one, maybe edit, shoot, reset. But cones are pretty good. So we'll talk about, this is just a final little tip, and it's more like it might be a little bit of an advanced tip. But when you start playing end games, which is like scrims or tournaments, and you're on height, the most common tarp is hard mat, so brick or metal, and using the cone floor like this. You want to be attached more than one, because they can shoot through two here, the floor and the cone. So maybe at the base here you want to, just connect to the initial structure, pretty like 4 to 5, 6 pieces, and then you start tarping like this, because you don't need to worry about above, because you're on height. And then eventually, if you start running out of mats, you can start tarping with just a cone or just the floor or whatever. But yeah, that is cones. I think the next episode we're gonna get into just editing some basic stuff with peaks and all that fun stuff. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.